A man in a white uniform walks, delivering a speech to a group of people. He asks for everyone's attention. He explains that in a few days, Princess Wei Wei will arrive at Outpost 11361 to assume her position as station chief. He explains that, according to imperial law, all 14,000 individuals present at the station will become citizens under the command of Princess Wei Wei. He emphasizes the importance of the occasion, stating that becoming a citizen directly linked to the royal family is a rare opportunity, even throughout the Galactic Federation. A hand rises from the crowd, interrupting the officer's speech. Visibly annoyed, he turns to the crowd and asks who interrupted him. A young man in a blue uniform, with his hand still raised, introduces himself as Wang Xiaofeng, senior mechanical engineer in the weapons engineering department. The man approaches Wang Xiaofeng and stares him down. He questions how a dwarf ended up at the outpost. Wang Xiaofeng stands at attention and reports to the officer, stating that he is 180 meters tall and that, on Earth, this is not considered short. The man, incredulous, asks what an Earthling has to report. Wang Xiaofeng, somewhat timidly, reports that the outpost's ammunition reserves are critically low and that to ensure Princess Wei Wei's safety during her appointment, big mistake, the kid just arrived and already wants to sit in the front row. The officer cuts Wang Xiaofeng off, yelling, "Silence!" The man continues to berate Wang Xiaofeng, questioning when matters of the supply department became the responsibility of a dwarf from weapons engineering. The young man, unsure of what to say, attempts to respond but is quickly silenced. The officer, still staring at Wang Xiaofeng with disdain, states that as of the following day, he will be transferred to the basic maintenance team and that he doesn't want to see him again. The young man is speechless and watches as the officer walks away. Then, with his back to Wang Xiaofeng, the man announces the end of the meeting and comments that the HR department is increasingly out of control. The officer and a woman in a pink and white uniform walk down the hallway as she announces the arrival of a new report from the front lines. The officer orders her to speak. The woman reports to the man that another outpost, 12 light years away, was attacked by the Jinglong race. She then asks the officer if they shouldn't make some preparations. He brings his hand to his chin, thoughtful. He wonders if the Jinglong race isn't the one that wanders the universe hunting advanced life forms. He then reassures the woman, saying there's no need to worry. He explains that within 12 light years, there are no less than 8 outposts, so it's not their turn to worry yet. The officer says the main task at the moment is to ensure that the princess's appointment ceremony goes smoothly. The woman confirms that she understands. The man asks her to isolate this information so that it doesn't reach the princess's ears and cause unnecessary problems. Wang Xiaofeng, now in a basic maintenance uniform, walks down a hallway. He's suddenly bumped into and falls to the ground. A young man in a blue uniform apologizes to Wang Xiaofeng for not seeing him, justifying that he's too short. A group of other non-human uniformed individuals approach Wang Xiaofeng. Someone comments that the maintenance team is full of newbies over 2.5 meters tall and warns him to be careful not to get crushed. The people around Wang Xiaofeng start making fun of him. One asks if that's the Earthling who, according to rumors, talked nonsense in front of the station chief. Another comments that it's disgusting to be on the same team as a dwarf like him and tells him to go back to Earth. Our protagonist, ignoring the comments, gets up and walks towards his dorm room door. He opens the door, relieved to finally be in his own space. Wang Xiaofeng enters his dorm room, which is extremely messy, and observes the situation with dismay. He remembers when he asked his parents to return to Earth, claiming he missed them. In Wang Xiaofeng's memory, his father, holding a knife, scolds him, telling him to stop playing the victim and that if he couldn't complete the tasks, he should forget they exist. Meanwhile, our hero's mother tries to calm him down. Wang Xiaofeng remembers how scary his father is. Then, some time passes, and Wang Xiaofeng holds a notepad with a list of goals written by his father. Get married, have 10 children, make 100 friends, buy a big house with at least 1,000 square meters. And below the list, there's a warning. If he can't do any of this, his father will consider him as as if he had no son. Our hero looks at the list, disheartened, and says it seems there's no way to go back to Earth. A crowd gathers in the outpost's parking area, shouting, "Wow! The princess is arriving." As the crowd cheers and shouts, "Your Highness, the princess!" The beautiful maiden with silver hair and a purple outfit disembarks from the spaceship. The princess, now on solid ground, observes the crowd welcoming her enthusiastically. She is the much-talked-about Wei Wei, the princess of the Galactic Empire. The crowd cheers her, chanting her name and declaring support for her leadership. The princess thanks everyone for their support and walks the red carpet, accompanied by a tall, strong man with blonde hair and stylish armor. He is introduced as Li Kei, the Imperial Royal Knight. Princess Wei Wei addresses the crowd, proud, and introduces herself as the 133rd Princess of the Galactic Empire. In the crowd, two people comment on the princess. One appears impressed that she is the new station chief. The other declares their continued support for her. The princess, satisfied, says that finally, from that day forward, she has her own territory and subjects. She considers herself an illegitimate princess, but states that on that day, she became one of the few royals with real power. The princess thinks that although the outpost is a bit remote, the district is rich in mineral resources, which means a lot of profit. The princess, now with a hint of arrogance, orders the commoners to work hard to secure the throne for her. Li Kei warns her, saying that this place is not like the imperial capital and asking her to be careful with her words and actions. The princess responds, irritated, that she already knows and that he doesn't need to remind her all the time. And well, she can't maintain that aura for long as she trips over something on the floor and falls. Sorry, but I laughed out loud here. Li Kei kneels beside Princess Wei Wei and asks if she's all right. She worries if anyone witnessed the fall. The princess groans in pain, complaining that it hurts a lot. She gets up, leaning on her knees, and asks who the idiot was who left that garbage in the hallway. Li Kei says that if he's not mistaken, the culprit behind the princess's fall must be that guy. He observes Wang Xiaofeng, who has his back turned, putting tools away in a locker. Princess Wei Wei, still irritated by the fall, complains that the outpost should be filled with elites and questions if that guy is also a member of the outpost. Li Kei observes Wang Xiaofeng and says that, judging by his stature, he must be a primitive earthling. Princess Wei Wei approaches Wang Xiaofeng and calls him Shorty, asking for his name. Wang Xiaofeng, holding a tool in his hand, turns to Princess Wei Wei and asks if she needs anything. Princess Wei Wei looks Wang Xiaofeng up and down and is enchanted by our protagonist's beauty. She points to a backpack on the floor and asks Wang Xiaofeng if it's his. He confirms. Princess Wei Wei approaches Wang Xiaofeng and accuses him of making her trip. She demands to know how he will compensate her. Our protagonist panics and apologizes, stating that it wasn't his intention. The princess places her index finger on Wang Xiaofeng's cheek with a mischievous expression and says that, of course, she can consider forgiving him if he shows some sincerity. Wang Xiaofeng, confused, asks what she means by sincerity. Understanding the situation, he asks the princess to wait a moment. Princess Wei Wei crosses her arms and observes Wang Xiaofeng's attitude. She thinks, smiling, that using her position to ask for favors is a trick that never fails. Then, he stands up and hands the princess a card, asking her to accept it. The princess takes the card and asks what it is. Our hero, with his eyes closed and hands clasped together, explains that it's a voucher for the second cafeteria and that it can be exchanged for a luxurious seafood buffet. He reveals that he has been saving that voucher for a long time and hasn't had the courage to use it. Princess Wei Wei stares at him, incredulous, and asks if he's joking with her. She argues that anyone who goes to the outpost must be, at a minimum, from a noble family of some planet and have at least a few hundred star coins. Then, the princess demands 200,000 star coins so they can be even. Wang Xiaofeng, confused, mutters, "Money?" He explains that he passed his exams and that all his money went to paying off student loans. He sadly laments that he only has 200 star coins left. The princess, shocked, wonders how anyone can be so poor. "Come on, my lady. No need to humiliate him too, right?" Two people in the distance observe the scene and recognize Princess Wei Wei, praising her beauty. Lee K warns Princess Wei Wei that it's not good for their reputation to start intimidating station staff. She replies loudly, stating that she already knows. Princess Wei Wei smiles and tells Wang Xiaofeng that she was just messing with him. She praises him, saying it's impressive that someone so young has become a mechanical engineer. Wang Xiaofeng, relieved, admits that the joke scared him. The princess, still smiling, declares that from that day forward, they are friends and says goodbye, claiming she still has things to do. She tells Wang Xiaofeng that if he needs anything, he can contact her anytime. He happily agrees. As she walks away, our hero comments that the princess is very kind. A group of people glare at Wang Xiaofeng angrily. Two women berate him. One says that the princess is a royal noble with a life expectancy of over 1,000 years, and that there's no way she would associate with a low-class being like him. The other says he needs to learn what self-awareness is. Our hero cowers, ashamed, as the crowd continues to glare at him with disdain. Bro, it's impressive how small our hero is compared to the rest of the staff. Princess Wei Wei, alone in a living room, punches a teddy bear furiously. She complains that if she sees that shorty again, she'll teach him a lesson. Then, the officer enters the living room. He addresses the princess as Your Highness and asks what's wrong. She asks the deputy station chief what is going on. The man explains that a portal has been discovered near the outpost and a large number of Xinglong are emerging from it, rapidly advancing towards them. He assures the princess that he has already prepared everything for her. He implores the princess to evacuate immediately for her safety. Princess Wei Wei, outraged, states that the station crew is fighting to the death to defend the empire's borders, and that, as princess and station chief, she cannot abandon them and flee alone. Moreover, Outpost 11361 has the most advanced space defense equipment in the empire on the level of a space fortress, and there is no safer place in the nearby star systems. Then, she declares that she will stay and face the Xinglong alongside the station crew. The officer resigns himself to the princess's decision, accepting the situation. Now, in the command room, he despairs as he realizes that the Xinglong used a portal to reach them directly from 12 light-years away. In a panic, one of the agents reports that a large number of gigantic life forms are approaching, and the number continues to increase rapidly. 500, 550, 600. The other, shocked, announces that the number has exceeded 1,000 and continues to rise. Then, one of the agents alerts them to the detection of a high-risk target suspected to be the Xinglong King. The officer is incredulous. He starts pacing back and forth, commenting that even the Xinglong King has appeared and that the target is very clear. Then he reaches a conclusion. That's it. The Xinglong must be after the princess, looking for a lone royal. After all, to them, the star power possessed by royalty is an irresistible fatal attraction. The officer recalls the moment the outpost was established, stating that, at the time, it had the most comprehensive defense system, on par with a space fortress. A fleet of imposing, heavily armed robots floats in space, demonstrating the former defensive power of the place. Back then, they truly had the strength to fight the Xinglong, but now, the outpost has been around for a century and has never been attacked. He concludes, bitterly, that the annual defense funds have been diverted for a long time and that the current defense system is nothing more than an empty shell. So, the officer orders, urgently, that they activate the outpost's self-destruct sequence immediately, notify the crew to prepare for evacuation, and block the princess's signal receiver. One of the men, perplexed, questions what to do with the princess. He says that the princess fought to the last moment to protect the station staff while they evacuated and perished along with the outpost. He justifies his actions by saying that since the Xinglong are after the princess's life, he cannot be blamed. The officer continues his speech, cynical, saying that they shouldn't forget that everyone there has a share in the diverted funds. He explains that, in the worst-case scenario, if just an illegitimate princess dies, he will be demoted, but if the embezzlement is discovered, they will all spend their lives in prison. Then he asks them to choose for themselves. One of the agents confirms the order. He reports that the station crew has been notified to evacuate immediately. Then the other agent coldly confirms that the self-destruct device device will be activated in 1 hour. A horde of Xinglong of various shapes and sizes flies towards the outpost in a nearby star system. Amidst the Xinglong horde, the king, with blue armor and red details, stands out for his imposing posture. He has a humanoid body, black dragon wings, a horn atop his head, and a menacing gaze. Disaster level, Xinglong King, star space monster, weight 89,000 tons. Then, the clash finally begins. Li Ke, piloting a fighter ship, orders the soldiers to prepare as they cannot let those disgusting reptiles get close to the outpost. A squadron of armed robots flies in formation through space. The robotic soldiers respond in unison. Yes, sir! The Xinglong King senses an incredibly delicious aroma coming from the outpost. The king launches himself towards the outpost, hitting and destroying several combat robots from the enemy fleet. The soldiers around Li Ke shout, "Run!" while others call for help as they watch the Xinglong King approach. Li Ke, furious, questions what the soldiers are doing standing there, reminding them that this is the Xinglong King, and orders them to quickly set up a line of fire. One soldier desperately reports that the weapons have no ammunition. He reports that the reserve magazines are also empty, that the combat suits are not equipped with tactical knives. Li Ke complains that the outpost has no decent weapons. He wonders how this mission is any different from a suicide mission. Then, in his mind, he questions if the deputy chief arranged for the princess to leave earlier, concluding that he knew everything all along. Combat robots fight the Xinglong in an unequal battle. One of them warns, panicked, that the princess is in danger. The Xinglong King observes the fleet of robots attacking him and scoffs at the humans, calling them space junk. He wonders where the chosen one could be hiding. Observing the outpost in the distance, the Xinglong King concludes that they are hiding there. Inside the ship, Li Ke watches the monitors and receives an alert that a life form with high energy is approaching. The king is coming. Li Ke curses, frustrated, and orders them to prepare for emergency evacuation. The Xinglong King invades the outpost, destroying a robot in his path, and orders them to get out of his way. A message on the outpost's communication system announces that the location is about to self-destruct and asks everyone to evacuate in an orderly fashion. Soldiers run in panic through the outpost as explosions erupt around them. Li Ke runs alongside Princess Wei Wei, guiding her towards the escape pod and warning her that it's about to be launched. Then they look out the window, and well, the escape pod is already leaving the location. Princess Wei Wei and Li Ke, shocked, watch their only means of escape fly away. Still inside the station, Li Ke is furious. He curses the deputy chief, calling him despicable for wanting them to die alongside the Xinglong. Princess Wei Wei asks what they should do. She holds Li Ke's shoulder in panic and asks him to think of something quickly. Li Ke, distraught, laments the situation, asking what they could possibly do at that point. It is then that our hero, limping and with his arm in a cast, approaches. Princess Wei Wei, desperate, wonders if they will die there. Wang Xiaofeng approaches and looks at her surprised. He asks the princess why she is still there. Then, our protagonist, carried on Li Ke's back, addresses Princess Wei Wei and says that she's lucky to have found him. Otherwise, she would be stuck there. The princess asks if he has a way to get them out of there. Wang Xiaofeng states that, of course, they are friends, and assures her that he will get them out of there safely. The princess rejoices, relieved. Li Ke asks Wang Xiaofeng how he got hurt. Wang Xiaofeng downplays the injuries, saying it was nothing serious and that it was just carelessness. He then points to an area in the outpost, saying that it's the production area where some space shuttles that haven't been delivered yet are stored. Wang Xiaofeng asks Li Ke and the princess to put on their protective suits, advising that he will set the destination coordinates. The princess praises Wang Xiaofeng, saying he's surprisingly reliable. Our hero, proud, retorts, asking them not to underestimate him as he passed the outpost's rigorous selection process as a senior mechanic. Li Ke and Princess Wei Wei, now wearing spacesuits, watch as Wang Xiaofeng operates a control panel. Princess Wei Wei tells her bodyguard that there are only 2 spaceships. Li Ke suggests they board the ship, but the princess hesitates. Li Ke argues with the princess that they are royalty and nobility, and that compared to a primitive from a planet planet like Earth, they have much longer lifespans. He says that if she feels guilty about Wang Xiaofeng, they can always compensate his family later. Wang Xiaofeng, with his arm in a cast and using crutches, apologizes for the delay and invites them to proceed. Man, I'm going to cry. You guys aren't going to do this to him, right? Right? But upon reaching the spaceship area, he finds the place empty. He wonders where everyone is and notices that the spaceship is also gone. Our hero laments, realizing that he has been left behind. Wang Xiaofeng wonders if they couldn't have squeezed him into the ship since he's not that big. A message on the outpost's communication system announces that the self-destruct sequence has entered the countdown phase. Wang Xiaofeng, sitting on the floor, feels betrayed and curses Li Ke and the princess for lying to him, questioning why they said they were friends and abandoned him. Then he stops and notices something moving on the ceiling. A message informs that the outpost's self-destruct sequence is in a 5-second countdown. A deafening roar echoes through the outpost. Wang Xiaofeng, in shock, finds himself facing a gigantic, monstrous creature emerging from a crack in the ceiling. The information card reveals the disaster level. Cosmic Beast, Balong. Weight, 21,000 tons. Our hero pleads in tears for the creature not to take him away. The Xinglong King observes the destroyed robots around him, perplexed, and questions where everyone has gone. Li Ke, in his escape ship, takes off at high speed, leaving the outpost behind. Princess Wei Wei, looking out the ship's window, calls out for Wang Xiaofeng. Meanwhile, the officer watches from afar, thinking that everything went according to plan. Wang Xiaofeng, in a panic, tries to crawl away from the cosmic beast Balong, which opens its enormous mouth before him. A bright light engulfs the space. The escape pod, with Li Ke and Princess Wei Wei aboard, emerges from the space portal, heading away from the chaos. Wang Xiaofeng falls, submerged in a liquid, wondering if he is dead. He floats in a dark space and wonders if this is the light of paradise. But he wonders why there are two lights. Confused, Wang Xiaofeng thinks he's never heard of there being choices in paradise. But then, he decides to ignore the doubt and convinces himself that choosing the brighter light should be safe. Wang Xiaofeng, after passing through the light, finds himself in a completely dark environment and wonders what happened and where he is. He asks if anyone is there. He notices that the top of the place is soft and concludes that he can open it. Then, in an attempt to open the top, he finds a light and celebrates. Our hero finds himself in an environment with a honeycomb-patterned ceiling and wonders where he is. Wang Xiaofeng, now with an insect body, observes his 6 legs and wonders what is going on and why he has 2 pairs of hands. He also realizes he has antennae and wings and wonders if he's reincarnated as a bee. Wang Xiaofeng, with a humanoid bee body, walks through a verdant field and excitedly thinks about how interesting it is to have this body and wonders if he should find some nectar first. Wang Xiaofeng walks around, imitating the sound of a bee and describing himself as a hard-working little bee. Our hero stops on a cliff, overlooking floating islands and a clear blue sky, and exclaims, "Wow!" He observes the spectacular scenery in front of him and comments on the beauty of this planet. Wang Xiaofeng, on solid ground, touches the soil with his front legs and praises the fertility of the soil, noting that it has not been polluted in any way. He sadly recalls that his home planet, Earth, is a dark gray planet with a deep purple haze covering the sky. Earth's radioactive seas are home to terrifying mutant creatures, and the toxic dust everywhere means that the average life expectancy of Earth's inhabitants is only 40 years. He then wonders what it would be like if Earth were like this place. 3 brightly colored bees watch Wang Xiaofeng from afar. One comments that he looks like a newly emerged drone bee. Our hero observes the approaching group of humanoid bees. He asks them, confused, what they are going to do. One of them confirms that he really is a drone bee. The humanoid bees are fascinated by Wang Xiaofeng. One comments that it's the first time she's seen such a small drone bee. Another suggests that he must be the first drone born to the queen. Another bee, delighted, exclaims that that he is very cute. Our hero asks if they are talking about him. The bees approach Wang Xiaofeng curiously. One asks his name. Another, with a curious look, asks if she can touch him. The little guy, awkward with the attention he is receiving, introduces himself as Wang Xiaofeng and thinks, with a smile, about how popular he is. Wang Xiaofeng, cheeks flushed, allows the bees to touch him, saying it's okay if it's just a touch. Then, a bee starts squeezing Wang Xiaofeng's cheek and exclaims that it's very soft, commenting that his skin seems very nice. Then, a group of humanoid bees pile on top of Wang Xiaofeng, who cries out for help. Another bee, noticing the commotion, asks what they are doing and reminds them that they all have work to do. One bee warns, panicked, that they are the queen's guards. The other bees look at her frightened. The queen's guard, with a stern expression, orders them to get back to work. The information card reveals her disaster level. Queen bee guard, Bee Li, weight 9,000 tons. The bees who were on top of Wang Xiaofeng get up and respond, "Yes," as they run to continue their work. Meanwhile, our poor hero lies on the ground trying to figure out what just happened. Bee Li comments on how that was a problem. Our protagonist, relieved, says he thought he was going to die. Bee Li looks at Wang Xiaofeng and asks if he's the newly emerged drone bee. She takes flight and orders Wang Xiaofeng to follow her, saying she will take him to see the queen. Wang Xiaofeng, surprised by the order, watches Bee Li fly away. Looking at his wings, he says he hasn't tried flying yet. Then, with great difficulty, he tries to flap his wings. Our hero finally launches himself into the air and exclaims excitedly as he flies completely clumsily. But wait, a poor guy's joy is short-lived. The poor thing crashes into a tree branch. Meanwhile, the other bees laugh at the situation. One comments on his recklessness, flying so uncontrollably for the first time, and says she doesn't understand why he's so excited. Another bee laughs, finding the situation funny, and comments that it's not surprising, as everyone has a first time. Then, some time passes, and the bees arrive at a huge honeycomb-shaped structure on top of a giant tree. Our hero asks if this is where the queen lives. Wang Xiaofeng eyes the structure with suspicion and comments that something feels wrong. A group of humanoid bees with spears in their hands guard the entrance to the structure. One of them addresses Bee Li, calling her Captain Bee Li, and asks if she shouldn't be resting that day. Bee Li, accompanied by Wang Xiaofeng and the other bees, approaches the entrance to the structure. She explains that the new drone bee has emerged and that she is taking him to see the queen. Wang Xiaofeng shyly greets her. Then the bee allows Bee Li and Wang Xiaofeng to enter. Wang Xiaofeng enters the structure and is greeted by a corridor filled with humanoid bees staring at him. He feels uncomfortable with the stares. Our hero, surrounded by worker bees, questions why all workers are female and where the other drones are. One of the bees asks if he didn't know. One explains that there are over 3,000 bees in the hive, but that he is the only drone. Yeah, as I expected. Now we all know where this is going to take us. She then states that apart from the queen, all the others are worker bees like her sisters. Wang Xiaofeng, shocked, thinks that over 3,000 worker bees are all female. Then our hero blushes and has indecent thoughts after learning this information. But he stops immediately, thinking that with so many bees, his body wouldn't be able to handle it. Dude, if it's what I'm thinking, this is going to be the biggest harem I've ever seen in my life. The red-haired worker bee, with a sly smile, asks Wang Xiaofeng why he's so happy as she strokes his head. The purple-haired worker bee asks Wang Xiaofeng if he's thinking of courting the sisters. Bee Mang Mang, the purple-haired bee, and Bee Man Man, the redhead, watch our hero with sly smiles. One of them comments, laughing, that he has some ambition. Our poor protagonist asks them innocently if that's not allowed. Then she explains that although worker bees are also female, only the queen has reproductive capacity. The other states that due to bloodline reasons, Wang Xiaofeng can only reproduce with the queens of other hives and only once a year. Then, Bee Li announces that straight ahead is the queen's chamber and asks everyone to be quiet. She kneels before the entrance to the queen's chamber and formally greets her, calling her Your Majesty. The queen asks Bee Li what is going on. Bee Li bows before the queen and explains that not long ago, the queen's drone bee emerged, and she brought him to meet her. The queen looks at Wang Xiaofeng and thanks Bee Li for her hard work. Our hero, enchanted, observes the queen and says that she is very beautiful. beautiful. He wonders if this would be his mother in this world and is startled by her size. The queen, Bi Huang, looks at Wang Xiaofeng curiously and asks what is wrong. Wang Xiaofeng, enchanted, exclaims that the queen is beautiful. Bi Li scolds him, saying that he should address her as Queen Bee, and questions him if the larvae didn't teach him the rules. She orders him to kneel immediately. Wang Xiaofeng, confused, asks what rules, not understanding the situation. Bi Huang, with an amused smile, reassures Bi Li, saying that it's okay as no one else is there. She comments that the little boy is very endearing. Then she calls our hero close to her and asks him to sit there with mommy. Wang Xiaofeng sits beside the queen, awkwardly, and asks why he can't call her mommy if she gave birth to him. Bi Huang explains that this is a rule followed by the bee tribe for generations, and she has no power to change it. She states that, after all, bees are the rulers of this celestial island and need to maintain their dignity. Bi Huang recalls that she was once one of thousands of worker bees, but she was fortunate enough to be chosen by the former queen and inherit her royal power, becoming the new queen. She explains that everyone in the hive is related by blood and that he should get along with them. The queen orders Bi Li, Bi Mang Mang, and Bi Man Man to take care of Wang Xiaofeng for now. The three bees bow before the queen and confirm the order. Bi Li bows to the queen and assures her that they will train him to be an excellent drone. The queen states that Bi Li is the most capable worker bee and the only one with 2-star strength, and suggests that Wang Xiaofeng learn from her. Our hero agrees, calling the queen Mother Queen. Now, in the residential area of the celestial island, various humanoid insects live in harmony. A giant dragonfly moves carrying a wooden crate. Bi Li explains to Wang Xiaofeng that this is the residential area of the celestial island, and that all the tribes under the administration of the bee tribe live here. She states that thanks to their protection, it has become the safest place on the entire celestial island. Bi Li points to the hive's residential area just ahead. She warns Wang Xiaofeng that he is still at level 0 and that until he reaches 1 star, he should not leave this place. The outside is an extremely dangerous wilderness, inhabited by wild tribes who follow the law of the jungle. Our hero, apprehensive, promises to remember. Bi Li points to a small honeycomb-shaped house and says that will be Wang Xiaofeng's room from now on. She advises that she will provide food and water regularly. Bi Li orders Bi Mang Mang and Bi Man Man to deliver that thing to our hero. Bi Mang Mang and Bi Man Man approach Wang Xiaofeng, carrying a cage with a furry, sleeping creature inside. Wang Xiaofeng, looking at the cage, asks what it is and if it is a pet. The bee explains that it's food and asks him to take it, assuring him that it's very nutritious and quite precious. Wang Xiaofeng, confused, asks the bees why they eat insects if they are also insects. The bees look at Wang Xiaofeng, all disappointed, and Bi Li comments that the guys in the breeding department are getting more and more ridiculous. Then, she corrects him, stating that they are actually wasps. "Wasps?" exclaims our hero. "Disaster-level native monster. Wasp beast. Weight, 3,000 tons. Wang Xiaofeng says no wonder the hive seems so strange. Bi Li, Bi Mang Mang, and Bi Man Man say goodbye to our hero, saying that they live next door and that he can look for them if he needs anything. After they leave, Wang Xiaofeng enters his new home and is startled by the size of the bed. He observes the interior of the house and comments that the accommodation is rudimentary, with no technological products, and seems like Earth's medieval period. He says that reincarnating as a wasp seems like a dream. Then our hero lies down on the bed, relieved, and decides that since he is here, he will make the most of it. He resigns himself to his new life as a wasp and comments that he is very tired. But suddenly, Wang Xiaofeng, now in his human form, opens his eyes, confused, and wonders if this is the previous space. Wang Xiaofeng falls towards a bright light as he screams. Wang Xiaofeng appears in the middle of a pile of giant bones in a place called Monster Cemetery. Wang Xiaofeng, dazed from the fall, looks around in surprise and wonders where he is. He wonders if he hasn't reincarnated. Our hero finds himself inside the mouth of a gigantic monster and wonders why this is happening again. Then he is ejected from the monster's mouth. Wang Xiaofeng, sitting on the ground, analyzes his injuries. He says his left arm has been ripped off, and that fortunately, the spacesuit has emergency bleeding control, but he still needs to disinfect it urgently. He observes the wound on his left leg and thinks he also has an open wound. Wang Xiaofeng, crawling across the floor, calls out for Mr. Fire! He, with difficulty, picks up a container of water and runs towards a small campfire, celebrating his success. He blows on the fire to increase the flames. Wang Xiaofeng places a piece of wood on the fire and decides to boil the bandages for disinfection. Then, he begins to stir the boiling water with a stick, saying that in an environment without medicine, this is the only way to stop the bleeding and disinfect. Then, our hero, screaming in pain, squeezes the wound with the hot stick, causing him to momentarily faint. And well, some time passes, and Wang Xiaofeng, now on his feet, observing the countless monster corpses around him, deduces that the entire valley is full of them, and they all died in the last explosion. He wonders if it was just because of the smell that this giant monster survived the divine explosion. But then our hero looks back and wonders why it's dark. And well, a giant shadow of a monster was approaching. Wang Xiaofeng, panicked, tries to dodge the monster's paw that nearly crushed him. A gigantic dragon-like monster rises above Wang Xiaofeng. The information card describes the creature as disaster level, cosmic monster, Zhu Yue dragon, weight 180,000 tons. Wang Xiaofeng, paralyzed with fear, murmurs, "Monster! Monster!" He observes this enormous creature and thinks about how big it is. Another, smaller dragon approaches the Zhu Yue dragon and asks what's wrong with him. The information card describes him as disaster level, cosmic monster, flash dragon, weight 87,000 tons. The Zhu Yue dragon replies that he thinks something just went under his feet. The flash dragon suggests that he forget about it, as it might just be a ghoul. He comments that the Dragon King is seriously injured and needs a lot of blood, so they need to find some fresh bodies and bring them back quickly. The Zhu Yue dragon replies, irritated, that he already knows and doesn't need to be pressured. Wang Xiaofeng hides behind a rock, terrified, wondering what they are talking about. Then, some time passes, and the Zhu Yue dragon and Flash dragon carry several smaller monsters on their backs. Our hero watches them and wonders if they are transporting the bodies. He puts his hand to his chin and thinks that maybe this is a good chance to escape from here. The Flash dragon warns the Zhu Yue dragon that it's almost time and they must go. Then, it takes off, carrying a small monster in its claws. In the midst of the skies, you can see an absurd number of dragons transporting food at full speed. Wang Xiaofeng, hidden in the mouth of the Zhu Yue dragon, sighs in relief, saying that he has finally managed to get out of that cursed place. He wonders where they are. He looks out, frightened, at a valley teeming with monsters. He concludes, horrified, that this place is a monster nest. Then, finally, their destination approaches. An immense volcano emerges in front of them. The Zhu Yue dragon lands at the site, dumping several smaller monsters and their skeletons on the ground. Wang Xiaofeng yells, "Oh no!" as he falls along with the others. One dragon asks another if old Shi has already found all the ingredients for the Dragon King's meal. A turtle-like dragon approaches, analyzing the ingredients. He complains that his vision is not good and that he has been waiting for fresh ingredients for so long. Wang Xiaofeng observes the situation, desperate, and wonders if they are monsters and what he should do. But suddenly, the turtle dragon excitedly notices Wang Xiaofeng and thinks that with this fresh ingredient, he will finally be able to satisfy the Dragon King. The turtle dragon approaches our hero with an evil grin and comments that this fresh ingredient is really great. But in reality, the giant turtle wasn't aiming for our protagonist, but for the dinosaur he was hiding behind. So, our hero, who almost had a heart attack, watches as the giant turtle takes the ingredient to the cauldron. Wang Xiaofeng takes the opportunity to run away, saying that the old man must have really bad eyesight not to have seen him. Then the big turtle with a giant cleaver prepares the food, saying, "With these ingredients it should be ready after boiling for a few more minutes." Wang Xiaofeng hides behind behind a creature's leg, relieved to be finally safe. The smaller monsters look at Wang Xiaofeng with surprise and curiosity. One of them points at him and yells in surprise that it is a human. The smaller monsters observe our hero, scared and confused. One of them wonders what a human would be doing here. Another comments that he looks delicious. A blue monster with horns, holding a cup, is startled and asks why there is a human here. One of the monsters warns that Wang Xiaofeng is running and orders the others to catch him. Our hero, in a panic, runs away from there. Then, a group of monsters chases Wang Xiaofeng while someone orders them not to let him escape, yelling to crush and eat him. Wang Xiaofeng despairs, wondering when this nightmare will end. But then, our hero, about to be crushed, remembers his spacesuit's safety airbag. The airbag inflates, cushioning the dinosaur's stomp. The monster steps on the airbag, flinging our protagonist away. The turtle dragon, carrying the cauldron, walks in front of the monsters that were chasing our hero. Meanwhile, Wang Xiaofeng flies towards the cauldron. Our hero plunges headlong into the dragon's soup. The turtle dragon moves towards a dark cave, carrying the cauldron with Wang Xiaofeng inside. A monster asks if that pot isn't for the Dragon King's Long Quan soup. The other silly beast confirms that it is. The blue monster tries to intervene, ordering the old man to stop. But then, they are surprised by a much larger dragon that steps in front of them. The dragon, furious, questions the monsters if they dare to rebel, even though they are in the Dragon King's palace. The information card reveals this dragon's disaster level. Level 7, Cosmic Monster, Bei Dragon, weight 1.3 million tons. The smaller monsters cower in fear. They deny any intention of rebellion. Then they denounce the turtle dragon, claiming that they saw a human inside his pot. The Bei dragon roars furiously and scoffs at the presence of a mere human. Then it crushes one of the monsters with its paw and threatens him, ordering him not to repeat it. One of the monsters points to the poor, flattened fire dragon on the ground and asks if it is dead. The Bai dragon, chasing the other little monsters, orders them all to leave. The smaller monsters back away, obeying the Bei dragon's order. Then the big guy looks into the cave, saying, "King." We then return to the battle that left the Dragon King massacred. The Bei dragon questions the Dragon King, who is seriously injured and lying on space debris, about how he allowed an explosion to hit him, being so powerful. The Dragon King says that if it weren't for that carelessness, he would never have had the chance to seize that unique opportunity. The Dragon King recalls that 300 years have passed, and during that time, there has been no progress in his power. He says the opportunity for a breakthrough is right there in front of him. The Dragon King, observing the unconscious Princess Weiwei inside the escape pod, says that all he has to do is absorb her star power. The Dragon King says that while he recovers, no one should approach him, for in his weakened state, they could easily steal his power. The Bei dragon vows to protect the Dragon King with his life. Now in the present, the turtle dragon pours the contents of the cauldron, including Wang Xiaofeng, into a gigantic organic container, resembling a womb. The Dragon King, his body cut in half, lies inside the container. Wang Xiaofeng calls for help as he floats inside the viscous, reddish liquid. The turtle dragon, observing the absorption process, celebrates the end of his work, saying that his old bones can finally rest. Wang Xiaofeng, exhausted, wishes for everything to be destroyed, including his miserable life. Wow. If I were him, I would ask for the same. The amount of stuff our hero has been through in 24 hours is unbelievable. What a miserable life. Out of nowhere, our hero bee slowly opens his eyes, wondering if he's back where he started. He gets out of bed and feels a sharp pain. Part of his bee mandible is broken. Wang Xiaofeng then thinks to himself that if he really had been reincarnated, his two bodies wouldn't be connected, concluding that when he woke up in one body, the other would be asleep. He rejoices at this possibility, thinking that maybe he's become some kind of supreme being with two bodies. Wow! I didn't see that coming. But soon after, with a sad countenance, our hero laments the fact that his human body is covered in wounds and probably dead by now. But then, Wang Xiaofeng, relieved, celebrates the fact that he is just an earthling and that everything is fine. He rejoices, saying that he has a noble position, surrounded by beauties, and that this is where he truly belongs. But soon his stomach starts to growl. He remembers that he hasn't eaten anything since entering this body. Then he remembers the gift the bees gave him, looking at the insect inside the cage. So, Wang Xiaofeng decides to see if the wasp is really good to eat. Oh my God. Look at the boy's psychopathic face, how scary. Then he grabs the food in his hand, while the little moth begs him not to eat it. Wang Xiaofeng is surprised that the creature can talk. He decides to follow local customs and try a piece of the moth. Wang Xiaofeng then bites into it. He makes a face and wonders if it tastes like raw shrimp. The little moth in his arms screams that she is dying. But calm down, everyone. Our hero wouldn't be that bad. Wang Xiaofeng spits and complains about the horrible taste. The little moth, shocked, asks what happened. Then she starts to cry, lamenting her situation, complaining about the cruelty of life, that she is about to die, but is being called disgusting even before she leaves. Wang Xiaofeng complains that she won't stop whining and says it's very annoying. Then he holds her and says he won't eat her and asks her to go cry somewhere else as it's too noisy. Our hero slams the door in the poor moth's face, kicking her out of his house. And well, in all these years in this vital company, this was the first time this has happened to her. The little moth celebrates, relieved, saying she is free. But as I've said a few times, a poor man's joy is short-lived. 2 bees fly overhead, and well, one of them points, saying they saw a moth in front of our protagonist's house. The bee, salivating, comments that the moth looks quite plump. After hearing this, the poor moth, desperate, knocks on our protagonist's door, calling him Big Brother and desperately asking him to open the door. Wang Xiaofeng opens the door and asks why. The moth grabs our hero's leg and says that she is a good guy and asks him to take her home. Wang Xiaofeng refuses the request as he is hungry and needs to eat first. But in the end, he ends up letting her in. Our protagonist asks why she went so far. Then, the moth, completely nervous, says to our hero, "Well, wait, if the Lord Wasp doesn't like to eat meat, how about trying a pollen cake?" Wang Xiaofeng is interested in the pollen cake and asks if she has any at home. The moth confirms and says that her little sister is very good at making pollen cake. Now, outside the residential area, Wang Xiaofeng, hungry, asks if they couldn't just fly out of there. The moth warns that flying would be risky, as the queen's guards might spot them. Then the little insect asks what that strange flower is. Then she remembers and says it's called the twilight flower. The moth, excited, exclaims that the flower is edible and offers a petal to the Lord Wasp, saying that although it's a long walk back to her house, that flower can help satisfy his hunger. Our hero accepts and shoves it all in his mouth. Worried, she asks Wang Xiaofeng how the flower is. He replies that it's sweet and not bad. Wang Xiaofeng, satisfied, says his stomach is feeling better and thanks the little moth. She replies that he is welcome and suggests they continue. Excitedly, she points to a hole in a tree and explains that this is the place where her Lord Wasp can ask her sister to cook. Our hero asks if she gets along with her sister. The little moth, with a smile on her face, replies that she does and that she is the most important treasure to her. So, they finally arrive, and well, a wasp with a demonic appearance, subdues a small insect that pleads, saying that she will work hard and be obedient, asking her to return her little brother to her. But right after, the poor thing is punched in the face, making her fall. The info sheet describes the wasp as disaster level, mud monster, weight 7,800 tons. The evil wasp says it's too late, because by now her little brother must already be in some lord's belly. Wang Xiaofeng is surprised by the giant wasp's attitude, being flabbergasted by such cruelty. Then the moth runs to her sister, worried, and asks if she's hurt. The little moth's sister introduces herself as Xiao Yue. The wasp runs and tells her not to be afraid, that she is safe now. The little moth says this is her house and asks the evil wasp to leave. The giant wasp approaches the creatures and says it's interesting, as she remembers selling her and asks how she survived and got back there. Then the wasp salivates, saying that as food, she should know her place, and that running away from being eaten is a serious crime. She brags about having the right to punish criminals. But calm down, people. You forgot that our protagonist was in the room, right? Wang Xiaofeng orders the giant wasp to stop. He says he brought the little moth with him. Wang Xiaofeng tells the giant wasp that if she has a problem, she should come to him. The giant wasp, shocked, wonders if they are from the Wasp tribe. The moth thanks Wang Xiaofeng and calls him Lord Wasp. Our hero asks her not to be so formal and invites her to just call him Xiaofeng. The giant wasp kneels before Wang Xiaofeng, apologizing and saying that she didn't know they were friends of his. Our hero, confused, wonders why the wasp suddenly knelt. The moth asks him if he doesn't know. She explains that the Wasp tribe is one of the rulers of the Celestial Island, that the Wasp Queen holds the power of the king, and that no insect on the Celestial Island dares to offend the Wasp tribe. Wang Xiaofeng then says that the little moth is his friend and asks the giant wasp to stop intimidating her. She agrees and says that she will leave immediately. Then the giant wasp wonders how a male wasp from the Wasp tribe could be there and even befriend food. Yue thanks Wang Xiaofeng. He replies, saying that it was no big deal. But that's when shit starts to stink. The giant wasp stops and wonders if Wang Xiaofeng is not accompanied by worker bees and if he would have escaped alone. Then she licks her lips and exclaims that this is an unexpected surprise. Now, in the residential area of the Celestial Island, the bees call for Wang Xiaofeng and warn him that his sisters want to take him to see the city. Bee Man Man and Bee Mang Mang look at the empty bed. They wonder where he could have gone. Bee Li, irritated, calls Wang Xiaofeng an idiot and states that he must have escaped again. She observes the footprints and says that he ignored their words and fled the city. The little moth asks Wang Xiaofeng how the food tastes. Wang Xiaofeng praises the food and says it is delicious. He comments that each type of pollen cake has its own unique fragrance and that her food is very good. But he tells Yue that the food is a little simple and that if it had some meat, it would be perfect. Yue and Yue are startled to hear Wang Xiaofeng talking about meat, but soon the moth says that Wang Xiaofeng was kind to her and that day, even if she has to cut her own flesh, she will repay his kindness. Yue tries to stop her brother while our hero is paralyzed by this unexpected reaction. Then, our protagonist gets up and takes the spear from the moth's hand. He apologizes and says he didn't mean to cause that misunderstanding. Wang Xiaofeng consoles her and says that he considers her a friend and doesn't want her to get hurt because of him. The poor moth, who had never received any affection in her life, asks him, "Friends?" Then, our hero confirms, excited, saying yes, that they are friends. Oh my god, how cute. Now I want a pet moth. But it's that saying, happiness is ungrateful. It abandons you when you need it most. Come back to me, Brittany. Why did you have to abandon me? Well, I guess it wasn't quite that saying, but you get the point. So the giant wasp enters the house, calling them sentimentalists. Our hero, irritated, asks what she is doing there. She replies that she wanted to invite Lord Wasp to visit the territory of the Mud Wasp tribe. Our hero rudely declines the invitation, saying he doesn't need theirs. The giant wasp threatens Wang Xiaofeng and says that if he doesn't accept the invitation, don't blame her for using force. Then she orders Horned Beetle to fetch Lord Wasp and bring him back to them. The Horned Beetle confirms the order. Disaster level, native monster, Horned Beetle beast, weight 13,000 tons. Wang Xiaofeng reassures Yue and her brother and says that he will take care of the Horned Beetle. The Horned Beetle attacks Wang Xiaofeng. Our hero waits for the attack and boasts of being a master on Earth who can defeat 10 people at the same time. Wang Xiaofeng dodges the Horned Beetle's attack. Then our little bee delivers a powerful blow to the Horned Beetle's belly. He attacks again, this time with a kick, and well, maybe the blow wasn't that strong. The beetle stands still while our hero gives his life to try to deal at least one damage to it. Wang Xiaofeng, confused, asks the beetle if he doesn't feel pain. The Horned Beetle grabs our poor bee by the face. Wang Xiaofeng despairs and begs the Horned Beetle to let him go, saying his head is going to be crushed. Yue and her brother tremble in fear as they see what just happened to our hero. The giant wasp orders the Horned Beetle to take them away. The Horned Beetle confirms the order. Yue asks Wang Xiaofeng if he's okay. The moth panics upon seeing Wang Xiaofeng unconscious and begs for nothing to happen to him. The giant wasp says she thought the male wasp could defeat a one-star Horned Beetle with such low power and scoffs at the idea. The moth asks Wang Xiaofeng if he is feeling better. Our hero wakes up in a lot of pain, saying he almost died. Then he asks the little moth where they are taking them. Meanwhile, the Horned Beetle flies with them inside a box. The moth deduces that they they are being taken to the surface. Frightened, Wang Xiaofeng shouts, "Surface?" Yue replies yes, and that the surface is inhabited by dragon beasts and is a very dangerous place. And well, already knowing our protagonist's history with dragons, he asks what dragon beasts are and if they would be dinosaurs. The moth says she heard her grandfather talk about dragon beasts and that they came from beyond the sky. She recalls that a long time ago insects lived on the surface, but after the dragon beasts invaded, there was a great war between the insects and the dragon beasts, from which the insects were completely defeated. Several creatures fight dragon beasts. The defeated insects fled to the celestial island, underground caves and islands, barely surviving. Wang Xiaofeng listens attentively to the moth's story and, astonished, concludes that if the dragon beasts came from beyond the sky, then it was the Star Dragon clan. He wonders if that planet was also invaded by the Star Dragon clan. Wang Xiaofeng, remembering the invincible strength of the Star Dragon clan and comparing them to insects, concludes that insects would have no chance of winning a war against dragons. So he asks why the mud wasps still live on the surface if it's so dangerous. The moth replies that the mud wasp's nest is in underground caves, barren places that have been abandoned by the dragon beasts. And since there aren't many strong insects there, the mud wasps became the rulers of the underground caves and turned other insects into their slaves. Then the giant wasp warns Wang Xiaofeng that they have arrived. She invites Wang Xiaofeng to meet her sisters, saying that they will love him. Our hero complains about the tight ropes and realizes that he has no chance of escaping. Wang Xiaofeng observes other creatures working and concludes that these are the mud wasp's slaves. The giant wasp tells Wang Xiaofeng that he seems very interested in the slaves and threatens him, saying that if he doesn't behave, he will end up like them. Our hero observes the slaves and comments on their miserable state, saying they are all covered in wounds. The wasp calls her sisters to show them what she brought. She brags to her sisters, saying that she has captured a male wasp from the wasp tribe. The giant wasp's sisters rejoice. One wasp asks if she's sure she was supposed to bring Wang Xiaofeng there. The giant wasp confirms, saying that he escaped from the celestial island city and that she captured the two moths who knew about it too, so there shouldn't be a problem. Our little worker bee, confused, wonders why there's always a bunch of females around him wherever he goes. Then the wasp starts to caress our hero's cheeks, commenting on his soft, delicate skin and saying that although he is a little young, after a while, he will definitely become a handsome young man. And if they marry him, their tribe might even produce a queen with the power of a king. Wang Xiaofeng is irritated by the wasp's comment. He asks her who would marry her and tells her to stop dreaming. Wow, that one hurt me too. The giant wasp, enraged, scolds Wang Xiaofeng. She says that they, the sisters, have plenty of time to teach him a lesson and that it won't be long before he begs them. The giant wasp drags Wang Xiaofeng through the dark forest and tells him to be quick. Our hero wonders if this would be a male wasp from the wasp clan. The bodybuilder insect explains that since the flying insects were driven out by the dragon beast, there are no wasps there, and that the mud wasp clan, the lowest level, has started to act arrogantly. He complains that those mud wasps are getting bolder, kidnapping a male wasp from the wasp clan. And yes, this is Dung Beetle speaking. Disaster level, native monster, Dung Beetle beast, weight 35,000 tons. The other one next to him says that those mud wasps were courting death. And yes, she's a praying mantis, simply one of nature's strongest insects, a real gangster among animals. Disaster level, native monster, praying mantis beast, weight 8,600 tons. The dung beetle says it's a golden opportunity and suggests luring the wasp clan there, stating that with that, the end of the mud wasps will be near. The praying mantis disagrees and says she's afraid it'll be like inviting wolves into the house, and that if they drive out the mud wasps, they could end up as slaves to the wasps. The dung beetle says he understands the praying mantis's concern, but states that with their strength alone, it is impossible to shake the mud wasp's dominance. She agrees with the beetle. He states that he will judge whether the wasp clan is trustworthy after an investigation. Now back to our hero. The giant wasp throws Wang Xiaofeng to the ground and says that this is the bottom layer of the underground mine and that no one can save him. She orders him to stay there and think carefully, saying that as soon as he understands, his sister will get him out of there. Wang Xiaofeng curses the giant wasp, calling her an old hag, and says he would never fall for her. Look, the way my testosterone is high these days, I wouldn't turn anything down. But what can you do, right? Meat only falls on a vegan's plate. The giant wasp, enraged, calls our hero a brat. Then she challenges Wang Xiaofeng and says she'll see how long he can keep up the act. Our little bee states that he would rather die than surrender. Yue and the little moth approach, screaming for Wang Xiaofeng. Wang Xiaofeng asks if they are locked up there. Some nearby critters are surprised by their presence and wonder if it's a wasp. The Heracross confirms that it really is a wasp, and the other creatures comment on how rare it is to see a wasp there. Wang Xiaofeng asks the little moth who those creatures are. The little moth explains that they are all residents of the underground mine. Then she waves her arms, saying they're her friends she met there. The giant happy caterpillar introduces herself as Mao Mao. The Heracross, a little shy, introduces himself as Stinkbug. Wang Xiaofeng is surprised by the creatures' names, laughing. The moth says everyone there is very friendly, and Yue thanks them for taking care of them. Mao Mao says she's heard of the mud wasps and comments on their audacity in kidnapping wasps. Stinkbug agrees with Mao Mao and says that when the wasps arrive, the mud wasps will be finished. Our hero thinks to himself that he escaped secretly and that the other wasps don't know he's been captured. So he concludes that the other wasps probably won't come. He apologizes to the other creatures and says that he can't be of much help. Mao Mao consoles Wang Xiaofeng and says that everyone there is just venting because they have been locked up for a long time, and asks him not to take what they said seriously. But then, the kingpin of the insects arrives, saying out loud that it might not be impossible to lure the Wasp clan army there. The surrounding creatures are surprised by his presence. The dung beetle says that if they help Lord Wasp escape, all they have to do is take him back safely to the Celestial Island. Our protagonist is impressed by the size of the dung beetle and says it's even bigger than the queen bee mother. The little cockroach begs Lord Wasp to overthrow the mud wasp clan's rule and help them escape this suffering. Wang Xiaofeng despairs, saying he's too weak and can't do that. The dung beetle encourages him and says that they will protect him with their lives while he brings reinforcements and that the mud wasp clan will surely be defeated. Our hero asks him to stop. He refuses, saying that even if he escapes, the mud wasp clan will not leave them alone, and questions whether the dung beetle could really do that. The moth calls out to Xiaofeng. Then our hero calls out to everyone. He is moved by the creature's plight and says they remind him of his past, so humble and hopeless. He recalls how he wished someone would help him back then. Then he makes up his mind. Wang Xiaofeng calls out to the dung beetle and asks what he should do. At the exit of the underground mine, two wasps talk about the arrival of a male wasp from outside. One of the wasps comments that the sisters will be blessed with the arrival of the male wasp. Meanwhile, the praying mantis sneaks through the mine. The dung beetle explains to our hero that this is the flower mantis, the only one with the strength to rival him on the star, and proposes a plan. He will go to the other side to distract the guards, while the flower mantis takes the chance to escape with Wang Xiaofeng. Our protagonist agrees to the dung beetle's plan. Wang Xiaofeng introduces himself to the flower mantis, asking her to take care of him. Then she turns and tells Wang Xiaofeng that the future of the underground mine insects depends on him. The dung beetle bids farewell to Wang Xiaofeng, asking them to be careful. Some wasps warn of a situation in the mine and ask the other insects to follow them. The flower mantis explains to our hero that there are 30 mud wasp guards at the exit and that the dung beetle managed to attract 15 of them. She confirms that she will take care of the other 15. The flower mantis warns Wang Xiaofeng that the mud wasps react quickly and that, if they sense something is wrong, they will surround them, so she asks him to follow her closely. Our hero agrees. Then she takes an impressive leap, launching herself at full speed upwards. Xiaofeng is extremely impressed. Two mud wasp guards observe our heroine's arrival. The guards, confused, wonder what that insect is doing there, ordering it to come down immediately. But with no time to lose, the flower mantis attacks the guards, who are startled by her speed. One wasp watches the fight and wonders what's going on there. The remaining guards realize that an insect is trying to escape and warn the other wasps. Then the praying mantis cuts everyone down with a fierce onslaught, the fallen guards commenting on her speed. And well, the other remaining guards better watch out. The flower mantis comes out pressing Q Master Yi style and landing several blows on the wasps. And to top it off, she humiliates them, walking slowly after wreaking havoc on the guards. Man, how that praying mantis got caught in this place, I don't know. The flower mantis asks our hero to accompany her. Wang Xiaofeng climbs with difficulty. Observing the flower mantis fighting the mud wasps, he comments on her strength. He asks the flower mantis why she isn't moving. Then she counts the defeated guards and says she's missing one. One wasp wonders why her stomach suddenly hurts. Then suddenly she finds the other wasps lying on the ground and wonders what happened. Look, sometimes it's good to take a shit while shit happens out there in the world, isn't it? She runs towards the alarm bell and, desperate, warns that it is an enemy attack. The flower mantis and Wang Xiaofeng watch the wasp ring the alarm bell. She laments, saying, "What a shame." A mud wasp enters the mine. She asks the creatures what is going on there and why it suddenly caught fire. The Heracross cries out desperately while throwing some cups of water. "Put out the fire! Put out the fire!" Mao Mao explains to the mud wasp that it was Stinkbug who accidentally set the shed on fire while cooking. Stinkbug apologizes to the mud wasp. A mud wasp curses our poor Heracross and threatens him, saying that if it happens again, she will kill him. Then she orders the others to leave. Mao Mao laments to the mud wasp that they are so miserable, while asking Stinkbug to think of a way to hold her back for a little longer. Then, the Heracross falls to the ground holding the guard's leg. He confirms to the mud wasp that all the grain that was supposed to have been delivered that year burned in the fire and asks her to defend them. The mud wasp curses him for his smell and threatens him. She says that if he doesn't pay his taxes, he will be food for the mud wasp larvae. Then, out of nowhere, the mud wasps watch in fear at the sound of the bell. A wasp warns the others that there is a situation at the underground exit and asks them to follow her back. Mao Mao tries to call the guards back, while Heracross asks them how they can be so cruel. Mao Mao apologizes to the dung beetle and says that they couldn't stop them. The dung beetle reassures them and says there's no need to blame him, that the bell is the ultimate alert signal, and that they wouldn't dare stay there. Stinkbug wonders what the maximum alert signal means. The beetle concludes that, if nothing unexpected happens, Lord Wasp and the flower mantis have already been discovered. Stinkbug laments, not believing what happened. The big guy apologizes to the other creatures and says that the secret escape plan failed, saying that he and the flower mantis will have to face the mud wasps head-on. Mao Mao is concerned about the plan and says that there are only 2 of them, while the mud wasp clan has at least 100 members, in addition to the insects that have allied with them. The dung beetle perks up and says that this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, both for Lord Wasp, who has earned his trust, and for the sake of his descendants so that they will never be enslaved. Our hero commits and says that even if it costs him his life, he will not hesitate. What a man! What a man, guys! The moth asks the dung beetle to wait a moment. The dung beetle asks what happened. She asks to go with him, saying that Wang Xiaofeng is her friend too, and she wants to help. The dung beetle thinks about it. He thanks the moth for the gesture, but says that with her lack of star power, she wouldn't be of much help. Mao Mao tries to stop the moth and explains that the dung beetle and the flower mantis are different from them, that they are stellar insect warriors capable of controlling star power. Stinkbug agrees and says that, although it is frustrating, they would only cause trouble for the dung beetle and the others if they went. The poor moth says she knows she is weak, a mere insect at the bottom of the food chain, and that a long time ago she was sent to the wasp clan as food because she could not pay taxes. The poor little creature cries, feeling wronged. She says that Wang Xiaofeng never looked down on him because of his position, and that despite being a noble wasp, He was willing to be friends with him, someone who was destined to be food and who is risking his life to help them. The moth asks the dung beetle if, because she is weak, she should just watch her friend die for her. Mao Mao praises the moth for her words. The Heracross, moved, says that Wang Xiaofeng is risking his life for them and that they cannot stand by and do nothing. Mao Mao and Stinkbug agree, saying they will go together, stating that they want to do what little they can. With that, all the insect slaves cheer up, one of them saying that the mud wasp gang isn't that scary and that he's going too. Another creature agrees and encourages them to show those despicable mud wasps what the lower class can do. Other creatures say they will go too. The dung beetle is surprised by the little moth's attitude and decides to go back on what he said before, calling her little moth and saying that she is a brave warrior. Then he asks for the help of the little moth and everyone else. The little moth agrees, touching the big guy's hand. What a beautiful scene, man. I'm going to cry. This is absolute cinema. Meanwhile, a horde of wasps marches through the underground mine passage. A mud wasp orders them to search the mine for Wang Xiaofeng and the flower mantis. The flower mantis holds Wang Xiaofeng in her arms as she hangs from the ceiling. And well, I think our hero is at peak testosterone. Flower, sister flower, says our hero, while the flower mantis puts Wang Xiaofeng to her breasts, asking him to be quiet. Then they finally land on the ground. She warns that reinforcements are coming and they need to hurry. She asks Wang Xiaofeng if he's okay. Wang Xiaofeng, dizzy, says he's fine. The flower mantis, as she runs, encourages Wang Xiaofeng, saying that they are almost at the end of the passage and that once they pass through there, they will be safe. Then they run towards the mine exit. But wait, it couldn't be that easy, could it? The giant wasp appears at the exit of the place and asks Wang Xiaofeng where he is going in such a hurry. She comments that he even has a stinky moth with star power with him. And well, the situation gets even worse. In an instant, an absurd amount of wasps appears in front of our heroes. The wasp states that from the moment the alarm bell rang, she knew that that bunch of stinky insects that live underground were up to something. She says that helping the little wasp escape and luring the wasp clan there to deal with them, using one enemy to defeat the other, was a very clever plan. She asks the flower mantis if it was the traitor dung beetle who came up with that idea. The flower mantis defends the dung beetle, saying that he is not a traitor. The giant wasp, enraged, curses the flower mantis and tells her to shut up. The praying mantis orders Wang Xiaofeng to move away, saying that she will deal with them. Wang Xiaofeng asks the flower mantis to be careful. Then, while she prepares for combat, well, let's just say not fair combat, our hero sneaks away behind her. And the combat begins. Place your bets in the comments, guys. The flower mantis unleashes several attacks, stomping and kicking the surrounding wasps. She spins her arms and attacks them with her blades. But then, the enemy team's tank arrives, delivering a powerful dash towards the poor mantis, ignoring her blows. She is startled that her attacks are having no effect and comments on its hard shell. And in the blink of an eye, the horned beetle catches up to her. The flower mantis cries out in pain as she is hit by the horned beetle's blow. The flower mantis recovers, resuming her fighting stance once more. Then he attacks the flower mantis as she dodges his blows. He becomes enraged and punches the ground, which cracks on impact. This makes her jump for a moment. Big mistake. The horned beetle grabs her by the leg and explodes her on the ground. The flower mantis is trampled by the horned beetle as she screams in pain. Our hero asks Sister Flower if she is okay. She, already weak, asks Wang Xiaofeng to run. As he spins his arms, our brave little bee challenges the horned beetle to a fight to the death. The giant wasp, surprised, wonders why the kick didn't hurt her and comments that the star insect created by the dung beetle has some skill, but unfortunately for the flower mantis, she is facing a horned beetle about to break through to the second star. Then the giant wasp draws her huge stinger. She strikes and stops at our flower mantis's neck. She tells the praying mantis that she has already lost a few sisters to capture her. The giant wasp orders the other wasps to take her to the nursery so the babies can eat some fresh meat, and says a meal with star power is sure to produce stronger warriors. The wasps agree and prepare to take the flower mantis away. The horned beetle asks the giant wasp what they should do with Wang Xiaofeng. The giant wasp orders him to be restrained in a cage under strict supervision, and and complains that Wang Xiaofeng lives causing trouble and that after mating, they will get rid of him to avoid future problems. Our hero, crestfallen, laments that despite being a noble species, he is still doing poorly. Wang Xiaofeng cries, saying he's not cut out to be a hero. That's when one of the guards warns the other wasps that something bad is about to happen. The giant wasp asks what made her so nervous. The guard despairs and explains that the mob of peasants from the underground mine have revolted, that they have already broken through the passage and are coming up. The giant wasp, furious, asks if it's just that bunch of low-class trash. She asks who is leading the other insects. The guard concludes that it is the dung beetle, the traitor. Then, the goatee appears with the other insects, unleashing a powerful attack on the exit of the place, while the little moth flies, saying that she is there to help Wang Xiaofeng. Oh my god, this is better than the Avengers. The moth and the dung beetle order the other insects to attack. The giant wasp is surprised by the union of those insects, recalling that yesterday they were nothing but scattered sand, and wonders what the dung beetle did to them. The giant cockroach is also surprised by the dung beetle's attitude in having used only one wasp to unite those weak, starless ones. But he claims that no matter how determined they are, trash is still trash. The giant wasp says she will make them realize that resisting the mud wasp lord is the biggest mistake of their lives. Meanwhile, the dung beetle and the other insects advance. The giant wasp concludes that it's the worst decision they've ever made. The wasp leader orders her sisters to attack, saying that these insignificant insects are nothing to fear. The mud wasps agree with a war cry. Then the clash begins, insects everywhere fighting each other. This is what we wanted to see. One of the wasps encourages her sisters to capture the dung beetle alive, as it would be a great achievement. But hold on, this beetle is tough. The frontline wasps comment on his immense size. The dung beetle yells for them to get out of the way as he delivers a powerful blow that throws some insects away. He orders the stag beetle to release Wang Xiaofeng. The stag beetle asks the dung beetle if he finally dared to show up, calling him the former captain of the mud wasp guard. The dung beetle tells him to forget about the past and comments that his strength as current captain is still stuck at 1 star and says he can't level up just by capturing kids. Let's go, everyone! A big CGI fight is about to go down. The stag beetle, laughing, says that he finally pissed him off, releasing our worker bee and going into battle. He boasts and challenges him, saying that he will see if he still deserves the title of the strongest in the underground mine. The dung beetle yells for Wang Xiaofeng to run away. Wang Xiaofeng, terrified, runs while thanking the dung beetle. Our hero, taking advantage of the distraction caused by the dung beetle, asks his mantis sister to seize the chance and escape, but soon realizes she is seriously injured. She laments, saying it's her end. Our protagonist is shocked by the answer. She apologizes to Wang Xiaofeng and says that from now on, he will have to go alone. The flower mantis asks Wang Xiaofeng to move on. She laments, saying she is really useless and that she took responsibility for protecting them, but is now paralyzed and unable to move. She says that she lost her parents when she was young and grew up eating scraps from everyone in the underground mine. She regrets that they were forced to risk their lives hanging by a thread because of her carelessness and her oath to protect them. But our hero comforts her and says she did an amazing job. Wang Xiaofeng swears that he will protect everyone in the underground mine. Then the giant wasp appears and laughs at the insects and comments that the weaklings really like to huddle together. She orders Wang Xiaofeng and the others to come back with her quietly and threatens them, saying that if they don't, they shouldn't blame her for being ruthless. Meanwhile, the little moth and her sister fly towards the giant wasp at full speed, yelling for her not to hurt Wang Xiaofeng. Then, the two of them, with only one attack power, grab the giant wasp, covering her vision. The giant wasp gets irritated with the moth and curses her, asking how dare food challenge her. The brave moth becomes desperate and asks Wang Xiaofeng to run away. Our hero watches the actions of his little friends, moved. Then he takes flight, while the moth asks him not to worry about them and tells him to just focus on escaping. The giant wasp gets annoyed and orders them to get down from there and not touch her face. Now we go back to the big boys fight. The dung beetle asks the stag beetle what's wrong, as he delivers a powerful blow to his face. He asks if that's all the strength he has behind his competitive nature. The stag beetle asks the dung beetle if he has no sense of loyalty, since the mud wasp lord worked so hard for him to evolve to 2 stars. The stag beetle tries to hit the dung beetle, but soon, our monster stops him with a simple hand raise. The dung beetle asks what he knows about loyalty, since he secretly killed all of his relatives to turn him into a heartless killing machine, and if that showed any loyalty. The wretch says their sacrifice was necessary. He despairs and laments that the difference in strength between them is so great, even with just 1 star difference. And, well, Cristiano Ronaldo is his name. With a majestic volley, our hero throws the insect away. He tells the stag beetle that he is still stubborn and challenges him to a fight, saying that he will teach him a lesson on behalf of his family. The giant wasp notices Wang Xiaofeng's escape and orders the stag beetle to stop fighting and go after him. She despairs and implores them to catch him, otherwise they will all be doomed. The stag beetle, staggering, feels his body falling apart and wonders if that's the power of a 2-star insect. The giant wasp scolds him and asks if he is deaf, ordering him to go after Wang Xiaofeng. He gets up with difficulty and confirms the order. The stag beetle confirms the order and takes off. Then the dung beetle watches the loser flee. He gets irritated by his escape and asks where he thinks he's going. Our hero promises to do his best to catch up, but it couldn't be that easy, could it? The giant wasp appears stealthily, attacking him with her immense stinger and orders him to stay there. Then the battle of the highest star monsters begins. The dung beetle, irritated, complains about the wasp's sting and comments that his body is starting to go numb. The other wasps are surprised by the dung beetle's resistance to the poison and wonder how much longer he will last. They surround him and tell the other wasps to welcome the guest. The stag beetle heads towards our protagonist. Then, in the blink of an eye, he arrives flying close to our hero, cursing him and ordering him to stop now. Wang Xiaofeng is surprised at the speed with which the stag beetle caught up to him. The stag beetle threatens Wang Xiaofeng, saying that if he doesn't stop, he shouldn't blame him for being aggressive. Then, he tries to grab our protagonist, but Wang Xiaofeng quickly dodges, challenging him to try to catch him. Wang Xiaofeng, flying quickly in a zigzag, dodges the stag beetle's blows. The flower mantis watches our fleeing hero and prays that he can make it. Yue asks Wang Xiaofeng to hold on, while the moth asks the other insects to hold them back. Mao complains, saying she can't take it anymore, and asks the stink bug to help her, as she can't hold on any longer. The stink bug encourages her to hold on a little longer and says that the wasp lord will soon bring reinforcements to save them. Mao laments, wondering if they are going to die there. The stag beetle curses Wang Xiaofeng, saying he is hard to catch. Wang Xiaofeng, with almost no stamina left, tries to get rid of the stag beetle and wonders why he can't shake him off. But then a surge of motivation hits him. He says that everyone is already at their limit and they are still desperately resisting the mud wasps. Wang Xiaofeng wonders how he can stop there as his body begins to spark. And well, as we learned in Naruto, a fight like this couldn't go without a flashback, right? Wang Xiaofeng, still a child, comments that when he was a child, his dream was to become a hero. He, holding a doll, tells his father that when he grows up, he wants to be a hero like Eggman and destroy all the radiation monsters on Earth. Wang Xiaofeng's father encourages him, saying that if he studies hard and gets into a university on Star Wang, he will be able to pilot a mecha and fight monsters alongside Eggman. Our hero agrees. Later, he actually got into the Star Wang Academy of Mechanical Engineering. Wang Xiaofeng, excited, tells his parents that he has been accepted into the academy while showing his acceptance letter. He rejoices and says he can go to Star Wang and learn to pilot a mecha. Wang Xiaofeng's father celebrates, saying that he is his boy, that he made him proud. His mother says that that night they will have a big feast to celebrate. However, shortly before leaving, the city where he lived was attacked by monsters, and the interstellar transport system was completely paralyzed. Panicked citizens run through the streets as monsters invade the city. A terrified reporter reports that radiation monsters are invading the city en masse, causing a significant number of casualties. She advises residents residents to stay in underground shelters and avoid leaving their homes. His parents spent all their savings to secure him a spot on a military starship bound for Star Wong so that he could get to university on time. But Wang Xiaofeng refuses to go to Star Wong and says that he wants to stay on Earth. He tells his parents that they spent all their savings on him and asks how they are going to survive. Wang Xiaofeng's father scolds him, saying that he is an ungrateful brat and that it is none of his business to worry about him. Wang Xiaofeng's father asks if he always wanted to be a hero and orders him to go to Star Wang and learn real skills. The father orders him to take a small notepad and not come home until he has completed all the tasks written on it. Our hero, frightened by the reaction, confirms that he understands. Wang Xiaofeng, at a spaceport, says that at the time he didn't realize that his parents weren't thinking of him acquiring skills to return to Earth as a hero. His mother comments that it is a rare sunny day. His father agrees as a spaceship departs towards space, taking Wang Xiaofeng away from that hellhole that it had become. His parents wanted him to take that opportunity to leave Earth and never come back. Wang Xiaofeng says goodbye to his parents, who watch him from Earth. It seems they tried every way they could think of. Wang Xiaofeng, inside the ship, holding the notepad, says that he will see what his father wrote to him. Although the ideas seem ridiculous now, they really made him feel the love they had for him. But when he got there, the reality was quite different than expected. Our dejected hero feels very sad, with several people criticizing him. One of them comments that there are still humans on Earth. Another calls him a dwarf and curses him for being near him. Another comments that Wang Xiaofeng's race is primitive and short-lived, and tells them to forget about making friends with him, as he will be dead by the time they graduate. Life on Star Wang was difficult. His parents were his only motivation to continue. And well, I already cried a lot with this story. I think it's enough, right? Let's get back to the fight. Wang Xiaofeng cheers up and says that as this is not a time travel story, there must be a day when he will be reunited with his parents. Crying, he says that he has not yet repaid his parents, wondering how he could fall there. But wait, you are the protagonist, but not for long. The stag beetle appears next to our hero with extreme speed, preparing to deliver the biggest punch he has ever given in his life. And well, I don't think our hero will walk after this. As he falls, the stag beetle continues to chase him. Then, our hero recovers. Staggering, the stag beetle asks our hero to resist no more. He says that his defeat is inevitable and threatens him if he doesn't want to end up like the commoners who were treated like trash. But the poor beetle is screwed, because our hero begins to remember the friends he made until he got there. Wang Xiaofeng laments, saying he promised to protect everyone. They are like he was in the past. Wang Xiaofeng shouts with determination that he will not let that happen. Meanwhile, Wang Xiaofeng's body begins to glow, emanating a powerful energy. Wang Xiaofeng, furious, says he can't let that happen. Our hero begins to emanate a powerful light in the heavens. The glow is so intense that it resembles the sun itself. The stag beetle watches Wang Xiaofeng and wonders if he has leveled up. He then scoffs, saying that even if he has advanced to 1 star, he will not be able to defeat him. But then, Wang Xiaofeng charges forward and yells at the stag beetle to get out of his way. The stag beetle wonders how that is possible and feels the dragon aura of the Star Dragon clan. The stag beetle, shocked, shouts that this is impossible. Then the beetle takes the most powerful punch he has ever taken in his life, making his face contort. Wang Xiaofeng, imbued with the dragon's aura, charges forward after the blow. The stag beetle falls unconscious. Several creatures are surprised by the blow. One of them asks them to look at the sky and warns them that it is the stag beetle. The flower mantis watches in disbelief at the defeated stag beetle and wonders if Wang Xiaofeng defeated him. The moth and her sister cheer, saying that Wang Xiaofeng is amazing and that it's a miracle. The mud wasps watch the scene in shock and wonder how that is possible. A giant wasp despairs and orders the others to chase after Wang Xiaofeng and not let him escape. The stink bug cheers, celebrating that our hero made it. He finally managed to get rid of the wasps. The other insects celebrate in the midst of battle. Then Mao Mao, who was almost giving up, orders everyone to stop the remaining wasps. In the sky, our hero watches what he just did. The information sheet shows our hero's current power level, disaster level, Native monster wasp, weight 3,000 tons. Wang Xiaofeng wonders what power just came out of him. But no time to think. Wang Xiaofeng is worried about the approaching mud wasps. As he flies, he says that the celestial island is just ahead and calls out to B Li, B Mang Mang, and B Man Man, asking them to come teach him quickly. On the outskirts of the celestial island residential area, B Li asks what the situation is and if they have found him. The other bees say they haven't found him. B Li wonders where he could have gone. B Mang Mang warns B Li that a group of mud wasps is flying towards Celestial Island. B Li is surprised by the news and wonders why this is happening at this time. B Li tells the others to get together and see what is going on. B Man Man asks about Wang Xiaofeng, questioning if they are no longer looking for him. B Li replies that he doesn't seem to be around and that they should stop looking for now. Meanwhile, our hero desperately runs for his life. The giant wasp orders them to capture him. Then finally, the giant wasp catches up to Wang Xiaofeng. Our hero crashes into the busty wasp's breasts. The giant wasp curses him for causing so much trouble for her. Wang Xiaofeng, angry, says he can't stop there. But lightning doesn't strike twice in the same place. Our hero wonders why the power isn't coming out. While being hanged, he decides to try again, saying that he is almost emotionally ready. The giant wasp asks what he is doing and tells him to stop messing around. But it is then that one of the wasps, frightened, alerts her sister that they are in trouble. She warns that they are surrounded by the good wasps. B Li asks if the leader of the mud wasps is among them. She observes her and questions why the male of the wasp clan is with them. The blonde, serious, asks for an explanation. The giant wasp says it's a misunderstanding, that they were just trying to entertain him. Meanwhile, Wang Xiaofeng pleads for help from B Li, saying that they kidnapped him and forced him to have children with them, and asks her to save him. The blonde wasp orders them to arrest them all and let the elders of the wasp clan sort it out. Then, the good wasps immobilize the mud wasps and order them to drop their weapons. The giant wasp watches in terror at the spears pointed at her. On the other side of the battle, the other creatures are being taken away by the wasps and lament that they have been completely wiped out, wondering if the yellow bee will come to save them. The stink beetle reassures Mao Mao, saying that surely the dung beetle will come, as he is a trustworthy insect. But in fact, not only was the dung beetle captured, but the flower mantis as well. Mao Mao laments being afraid and wonders if they will be fed to the larvae. The stink bug gets annoyed with her and reiterates that Wang Xiaofeng will come to save them. It is then that Yue spots something in the distance and asks her brother to look. The little moth asks what that is. Then Yue says that it is a group of wasps approaching. Wang Xiaofeng approaches the other creatures, who are being led into the tree, and warns them that he made them wait, but that he is back, and that Wang Xiaofeng brought the yellow wasp clan to save them. The creatures celebrate the arrival of Wang Xiaofeng and the Yellow Wasp clan. Our hero asks the moth and her sister if they are okay. He apologizes for being late, saying that they must have suffered. The moth replies that it was nothing and that they knew Wang Xiaofeng would succeed. But then she asks our hero what is that thing stuck to his chest. He comments that he didn't even notice when it appeared. He tries to remove the thing stuck to his chest without success and comments that it is strange. Mao Mao screams in fright as the other creatures watch. Wang Xiaofeng asks Mao Mao what is wrong. Mao Mao, frightened, says, "It's that thing on his chest." She exclaims that it is the royal seal. The wasps watch in amazement at the royal seal on Wang Xiaofeng's chest. B Li says that now that the creature mentioned it, it really did look like it. Our hero, not understanding anything, asks what the hell this royal seal is. The moth explains that, according to legend, a monster with royal qualities, once recognized by the will of the universe, will have the royal seal appear on its chest. A golden drone with a bright mark on its chest floats in space, illuminated by an intense light. And a monster with the royal seal can not only protect their people, but also obtains unique abilities granted by the will of the universe. Wang Xiaofeng asks if he really is that powerful. The little moth affirms, with conviction, that there is no doubt. Then, our hero remembers when his chest felt warm during the fight against the stag beetle, and that crazy crazy thing happened. The moth deduces that he must have used the power of the royal seal to defeat the stag beetle. Wang Xiaofeng agrees and thinks of the queen bee, who is also the leader of the wasp clan, and wonders if she has something similar on her chest. Then our little worker bee says that in the world of wasps, only female wasps can become queen, and that it is strange that a male wasp like him has the royal seal. Thoughtful, the moth agrees with his statement. Then, Bee Li asks for calm and says that the queen bee is worried about Wang Xiaofeng, asking him to come back. The blonde wasp says that they haven't settled their score yet and reminds Wang Xiaofeng that she told him not to run around and wait until she dealt with him. Then, after this long adventure, flying home, the blonde wasp invites everyone to visit her when they have time. Mao Mao, licking her lips, asks the stink beetle if that thing on the yellow bee's chest is really the royal seal. And well, the beetle's only response to her was to make that disapproving face. Then, finally, the dung beetle and the mantis arrive after being released. He asks where Wang Xiaofeng is and says he needs to thank him personally. Mao Mao tells him that he just left with his sisters. Mao Mao asks the dung beetle what he thinks of them having their own king in the underground mining area. The dung beetle then asks her in surprise, "A king?" Mao Mao confirms and says that not like the mud wasps, but a real king with the royal seal. The stink beetle freaks out at Mao Mao's excitement and says her expression is scary. Now, in the queen bee's chamber, the queen orders Wang Xiaofeng to eat slowly and says that he has suffered a lot out there and that he cannot run away again. Then our little worker bee confirms the queen mother's order as he eats that delicious fruit. Well, I don't know what that is. Bee Li asks the queen bee if that mark on Wang Xiaofeng's chest is really the royal seal. The queen bee confirms, then Bee Li says that he is a male wasp and asks how he can be a king. The queen, with a smile on her face, says that Wang Xiaofeng has an extraordinary talent and has been blessed by the will of the universe. Wang Xiaofeng asks the queen bee if he can ask a question. He asks if the insects in the underground mining area, who are so pitiful and constantly bullied by the mud wasps, can take over the mining area. The queen bee then reminds him that when Celestial Island was established, the brutal mud wasp was rewarded with the title of King of the Underground Mining Area for resisting the dragon beast, and that, since the wasp clans do not interfere in each other's affairs, they could only pretend they did not see what was happening in the underground mining area. If the mud wasps hadn't messed up this time, the yellow wasp clan would have to face judgment for recklessly mobilizing troops in the underground mining area. Now that they are about to face judgment by the Council of Elders of the Wasp clan, the matter of who owns the underground mining area will have to be decided through negotiation between the clan elders. She explains that not even the Queen Mother can decide to take possession on her own. Wang Xiaofeng thinks to himself that if he had the royal seal, if he could use its power, maybe he could protect them. The queen bee, happy, says that Wang Xiaofeng is such a kind child. She advises him, saying that since he has recently transformed, he needs to grow up safely in the hive, and that it is too early for him to protect others. Then he accepts the queen bee's advice. But it is then that a worker wasp warns the queen bee about the presence of two mud wasp warriors outside the hive requesting an audience. The queen bee asks in surprise, "Mud wasp warriors?" Outside the hive, the dung beetle and the flower mantis introduce themselves to the queen bee. Our hero is excited to see them. The queen bee asks the reason for the mud wasp clan's visit. The dung beetle says that the two of them represent all the insect beasts of the underground mining area, and that they have come to pledge their allegiance. The blonde wasp and the queen bee look at each other. He says they humbly request that Lord Wang Xiaofeng lead the people of the mining area, and that they are willing to defend his honor with their lives. Wang Xiaofeng is surprised. He asks how they can pledge their allegiance to him, since they are all comrades who have shared hardships. The dung beetle explains that this is the unanimous wish of the residents of the underground mining area. Wang Xiaofeng shyly apologizes, saying that he is not ready ready yet, as he needs to learn to control his power and needs time. The queen interrupts him, saying that Wang Xiaofeng has already given his answer and that they should leave. The dung beetle apologizes and acknowledges that they were hasty. Now, in the underground mining area, Mao Mao comments that, from what Wang Xiaofeng said, it didn't sound like a refusal, but not exactly an acceptance either. The stink beetle asks if he thinks they are good enough, then the moth reassures him, saying that Wang Xiaofeng is not that kind of insect. Mao Mao laments, saying that it is not easy to get the Yellow Wasp clan to take over the underground mining area. She thinks to herself that since Plan A failed, Mao Mao says they'll have to go with Plan B. Yue asks what Plan B is. Mao Mao replies that as the most beautiful insect in the mining area, if she uses a little charm, she asks them if that wouldn't make the yellow bee fall into her hand. She says it's the most foolproof plan of all. With that, disappointment weighs heavily on everyone in that place. Mao Mao questions the other creatures as to why they are not saying anything. Then the other creatures ignore her as Mao Mao kicks her feet in the background. The moth suggests they go back and ask Wang Xiaofeng directly. The dung beetle agrees and says that guessing won't help. Now, in the Dragon King's chamber, Wang Xiaofeng floats unconscious inside the viscous liquid. He then opens his eyes. But when he realizes that he is submerged in the liquid, he begins to thrash about so as not to drown. Wang Xiaofeng then realizes that he can breathe normally and, looking at his arm, rejoices that it has been regenerated. Then he turns his head a little and realizes that there is something colossal behind him. Wang Xiaofeng screams, and desperate, he tries to swim away from the Dragon King. Then he finally gets out of that crazy liquid. He wonders if the monster didn't chase him because it was seriously injured. Wang Xiaofeng celebrates being alive one more day in that body, and putting on his clothes, looks at the pool of water and says that it must be for the monster to restore its flesh and is impressed by the regeneration. Our hero shows off his new arm and says that the water not only helped him regenerate his arm, but that he feels his entire body has been strengthened. But he comments that the print on his arm is a little scary. Wang Xiaofeng, with a mischievous look on his face, wonders if he has been strengthened. Then our hero looks around to see if anyone is there, and the little devil starts admiring his potentially strengthened goose. It is then that Wang Xiaofeng hears a strange noise and wonders what it is. He observes a giant blue monster devouring pieces of meat in a cave. Wang Xiaofeng, frightened, comments on the size of the creature. Then he decides that for now, it is safer to stay inside the cave. Half an hour later, the giant blue monster yawns. Our hero is startled by the shaking of the place and wonders if it is an earthquake. Then, the monster lies down on the ground near the meat and sleeps. Wang Xiaofeng decides it's time to escape, but he looks at the monster's meat and comments that it smells very good. He says he hasn't eaten in a long time. Boy, one of the most valuable things I learned playing Dark Souls is, don't be greedy. Just a tip. Wang Xiaofeng says the food is too high up. He laments not having a ladder. He looks at the hanging meat and wonders how he can get it. It is then that he observes the monster drooling with some pieces of meat running out of its mouth. And well, the world of dragons is so immensely large that just a small piece of leftover meat is bigger than the protagonist himself. It is then that a piece of meat falls to the ground. Wang Xiaofeng celebrates, saying, "Woohoo! Time to feast!" He picks up a piece of meat and enjoys it. He comments on the taste and says it is so fragrant and tender that he can't stop eating. A few moments later, our hero with a pregnant belly says he is full. But then out of nowhere, Xiaofeng feels a sharp pain. He feels his stomach burning and comments that it is as if all the energy in his body is boiling. He fears that he will explode. It is then that a few drops of blood begin to run from his nose. Warning: the meat of the 5-star disaster level. Volcanic bull is rich in energy substances. Please do not overeat. Now, back in the hive, Wang Xiaofeng is awakened by a worker wasp, told to hurry up and get to class. At the Sky Island Bee Academy, Wang Xiaofeng watches several bees gathered in rows. The instructor warns the students that as worker bees, the the most important skill is combat. Wang Xiaofeng observes the number of bees and wonders if he will participate in classes there. Bi Li explains to Wang Xiaofeng that the worker bees are receiving basic education and that, as for Wang Xiaofeng, she will teach him personally. Bi Mang warns our hero to watch out for Bi Li, as she is a tough trainer, and that, because of what happened the day before, she is in a bad mood. Wang Xiaofeng, scared, questions Bi Mang about the last part of the sentence. Bi Li, irritated, asks Wang Xiaofeng why he is still standing there and threatens him. Our poor little bee, terrified, tries to dodge Bi Li's attack. Bi Li, irritated with Wang Xiaofeng, attacks him with her spear and tells him to focus. One of the bees who was there is surprised to see Wang Xiaofeng training and says that there is a little male bee fighting with Sister Feng Li. The little bees praise the little male bee, saying that he is very cool. Bi Mang is impressed by Wang Xiaofeng's moves and asks if he is really that strong, since he is dodging all of Feng Li's attacks. Bi Man agrees and comments that it is amazing, asking if this isn't Wang Xiaofeng's first training session since he emerged. Then they start cheering for our hero. Wang Xiaofeng wonders why it is so hectic around there. Then our hero delivers his first attack on Bi Li, who deflects it with extreme ease. Bi Li asks if he still has the strength to counterattack and questions if that means he hasn't reached his limit yet. Bi Li, smiling, challenges Wang Xiaofeng, telling him to show her everything he's got. Our hero is surprised by Bi Li's sudden attack. Bi Li increases the speed of the attack, and well, obviously Wang Xiaofeng is finally hit. Bi Li praises Wang Xiaofeng's agility and good judgment, saying that she is truly impressed. The worker bees praise Wang Xiaofeng, saying that he is amazing and that Sister Feng Li praised him. Wang Xiaofeng thanks them shyly, but says he still has a long way to go. He recalls his enhanced skills at martial arts school and says that actually gave him a helping hand there. The blonde wasp announces the end of the first stage of the course and prepares for the second stage. Wang Xiaofeng wonders what the next challenge will be. In the outer city of Celestial Island, Bi Li comments to the other wasps that it has been a few days since the last cleanup and that the dragon beasts are back. Then, our hero deduces that these must be the planet's dragon beasts. Two-horned dragons graze in the forest. Disaster level, cosmic monster, horned dragon beast. Weight, 18,000 tons. And after living a long story with dragons, he comments, "So that's how big insects are on this planet." Bi Li, watching the horned dragons, decides to use them as material for the second stage of the course. Wang Xiaofeng is astonished. Bi Li asks Bi Mang and Bi Man to do a demonstration for Wang Xiaofeng. They agree, saying that they will take care of it. Our protagonist shows concern, asking if they will be all right, as those dragon beasts look powerful. Bi Li reassures him, telling him to pay attention. Bi Mang and Bi Man fly towards the horned dragon, ready to attack. Then they are enveloped in a bright glow, and out of nowhere, weapons appear in their hands. The bees, now in their most powerful forms, stare at the horned dragons. Then Bi Man attacks the horned dragon with her spear. The horned dragon, feeling something on its back, roars. Then the horned dragon fires its horns at high speed towards the purple-haired bee. Bi Mang swings her scythe and returns the attack to the beast. Man, poor thing. The little dragon just wanted to graze a little. Wang Xiaofeng watches in admiration and wonders what that was. Bi Li explains that this is the star armor and that the cultivation limit of the Zerg warrior himself is 3 stars, however. By pledging allegiance to a sovereign king, the Zerg warriors can quickly gain star power through a connection with the Zerg king, transforming their forms and easily wielding a strength that surpasses their own limits. She adds that this is why Zerg warriors must pledge allegiance to the Zerg king. Wang Xiaofeng comments that it seems like the ancient generals who needed to pledge allegiance to their lord in order to receive troops and supplies to make full use of their strength. Bi Li tells our hero that the standard for passing as a worker bee in 2 weeks is to master his star armor, and that the second stage of training is to master the star armor in 3 days and defeat a 1-star dragon beast, Wang Xiaofeng exclaims, saying that Sister Bi Li is a demon.